If Canada as a society or a country wants to protect the preborn child, I think it needs to start with defining when that child becomes a human being. But until the definition of when a child becomes a human being is changed, I'm not sure we're going to get very far with the courts.
So once you change the definition, then what? What happens?
So let's say, just for the sake of this discussion, that Parliament changed the criminal code definition tomorrow to recognize that the child becomes a human being at the moment of fertilization or implantation, however we want to call it. Human beings have the right to life. And so if the preborn child is a human being after a week of pregnancy, then you can't harm that child. You can't kill that child after that week, because they have the right to life, liberty, and security of the person as well. And it's interesting because in the case law that deals with abortion in Canada, the justices of the Supreme Court that have heard these cases use human being and person interchangeably. So that tells me that if we can have a legislative recognition that the preborn child is a human being, the question of personhood, which is a philosophical question that's often debated, becomes irrelevant.
So in Canada, do you have confidence that judges would be unbiased when looking at a piece of pro-life legislation?
I do believe that we have judges that could be unbiased in reviewing a decision that would have an impact on abortion. Judges are supposed to be objective and unbiased, but judges are people too, and abortion is, of course, probably the most politicized issue in the country. It's a political hot potato. Every election, it becomes an issue no matter who's running. So there's no doubt a judge will have personal views on the issue, but I've had experiences before judges where I know they disagreed with me or my client on an ideological level, but still ruled in our favor. So I would believe and I would hope that a judge could be objective on this issue if the law supports the outcome that is being sought by a particular plaintiff or litigant.
So you have had your share of successes, and unfortunately, despite your significant skill set, you've also had your share of defeats. And I think that's more of a reflection of our so-called justice system more than anything else. So do you ever get discouraged by the lack of justice and the harmful precedents that are built up?
So I do sometimes get discouraged by cases that go the wrong way legally or on a factual basis. But I'm also hopeful because I've walked into courtrooms convinced I would win and lost, but at the same time I've walked into courtrooms convinced I would lose and won. So there's hope, there's always hope. No case is ever a slam dunk either way, and any lawyer that tells you your case is a slam dunk doesn't know the law. And the fact that I came out of those courtrooms successful demonstrates that the judges in Canada and the Canadian judiciary can be objective and unbiased.
To go back to something you said earlier, you don't mind taking on a losing case. Why is that?
So I've won a number of cases, I've lost a number of cases. I don't know which one outranks the other, but losing is no fun. It's really not fun. You feel like garbage about yourself when you lose, even if you've done a great job and it, it's not because of how you prosecuted the case. But even losing cases need to be fought sometimes. There's value in taking on the fight to show that we're willing to fight.